All right, we're live. Let's jump into it. Make sure we're good here. Okay, cool. So I hope you guys are doing well. Happy Friday to you. We made it to the end of the week. So this is episode 4 of my daily stock market review, specifically focused on the top 5 biggest movers of the day. My name is Luke. The channel is called Mr. Shredder. Again, happy Friday. Hope you all had a great week. My episodes have been running a little longer than I anticipated. So I apologize for lengthier videos. I'm not sure if people like that or don't like that, although there's not many people watching at this point anyway. So it's kind of up to me to make this however I want to make it. But we'll jump into it. I'll try my best to keep this a little bit shorter and just kind of cut to the chase on some of these stocks. So a couple of things before we get started. I'm not a licensed professional financial advisor or analyst or professional trader. This video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. If you do find value in it, that's a fantastic thing. I do this for fun and to learn how to trade stocks more efficiently and hopefully make a profit for myself. If you do find this entertaining or in any way helpful, hit the like button for me. It's extremely helpful, helps the video kind of get circulated around to more people. And if you do find these interesting, definitely subscribe to the channel. I do plan on continuing to do these, even if no one's watching at this point. Again, fun for me. If you get something out of it, excellent. Consistently trying to post these every single day to recap the stock market and see how things went. So with it being Friday, I did want to do a recap of the week as well, just hit on a couple key points at the end of the episode. And then I do want to share some personal investing moves that I made this week as well and kind of talk to you about why I did it too. So the premise of the video is that I give myself about 10 minutes, if I can do it in 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes to review what happened in the market today. Most of the time, I have no idea anything about the companies that did really well. There's so many companies listed out there. At this point, my knowledge of them is somewhat limited. So to learn about these companies is very beneficial. Figure out what they do, why they moved, is really good and helpful for me to start to understand that. So this video is specifically focused on the top 5 biggest movers of the day. I do that every day. And then I like to try to find trends and patterns as well, figure out what we can learn from this and help us with our investments as we progress. So yesterday's biggest movers, we'll start with those. Those were Precipio Inc. Here, let me try to zoom in for you guys too. Make this a little bit easier to read. We'll see if that's a little bit better. So yesterday's big movers were Precipio Inc., Taoping Inc., Liminal Biosciences, Edessa Biotech, and Mogu. Just as a quick refresher, Precipio Inc. was a cancer diagnostics lab. They were up 469% yesterday, and today they were down 55%. The second biggest mover, Taoping Inc. They do cloud-based platforms and big data solutions. They're a Chinese-based company. Yesterday, they were up 332%, specifically because they did a 1-for-6 reverse stock split, and then today they dropped 58%. The third biggest mover yesterday was Liminal Biosciences. They're a biotech specifically focused on respiratory, liver, and renal disease. They did not have really specific news that I could figure out from yesterday, yet they were up 124%. So today they dropped 31%. Fourth biggest mover from yesterday was Edessa Biotech. They specifically are a company that is trying to release a COVID-specific drug. So they applied for stage 2 and stage 3 testing. If that goes well, they would be able to release their drug and then, of course, sell it and hopefully make a bunch of money. But they were up 88% yesterday on the news that they were entering testing for their drug. But today they dropped 27%. And then Mogu Inc. is a Chinese fashion and lifestyle company. They blew up yesterday afternoon for no reason that I could tell. So on the day yesterday, they were up 59%. Today they dropped 13%. So all 5 of the biggest movers from yesterday were down today. And I'll share an interesting tidbit with you later, towards the end of this video as we kind of recap the week that I'm looking for patterns and trends, and I think I've figured one out in terms of how these big movers do the following day after their big move. So we'll move on to today. So today, Friday, the Dow overall was up 114 points, which was a 0.44% increase on the day. It did not feel like that at all, in my opinion. It felt like the market was going to be down. It was just like a really slow, weird day. For the week, though, the Dow's down 17 points, which is a negative 0.06% move. So essentially flat for the week. There were some ups, there were some downs. None of the days were specifically crazy. They were pretty much all less than 1% in either direction, so the market stayed relatively flat. But the 5 biggest movers from today were BWMX, not to be confused with the car dealers, the car brand BMW. Drio, DRIO, which is Dario Health Corp. OIIM, which is O2 Micro International. eCore, which is ElectroCore Inc. And then TLSA, which is not to be confused with Tesla, which is TSLA. So very confusing day when it comes to the tickers, some of these symbols. So BWMX is Betterware de Mexico. They are like a direct-to-consumer wholesaler for like home goods, kitchen prep, home organization, like basically catalog and internet sales, direct-to-consumer, Mexican-based company. They were up 56% today. They have dropped in the aftermarket 7% so far. I could not find a lot of information on this company. It's really kind of weird. They didn't have any substantial news that I could figure out. It did look like, according to Fidelity, they were a company that was in the positive when it came to earnings. So that's good. I suppose it didn't seem like the company was a very old company. I think they were just founded within the last couple of years. The only other thing I could figure out is it looks like their dividend is not too bad. It's a 4% dividend. But to me, without being able to figure out much about this company and not living in Mexico to know about this company, I just wouldn't feel comfortable investing in it. Maybe it's a company where you could figure out a pattern, you could try to day trade it, some of the ups and some of the downs, but overall, it's just not a company that I would invest in long term. I like to understand my investments and why I'm doing something. I'm going to put any sort of substantial amount of money into it, and I don't understand the basics of this company. Again, I only give myself 10 minutes, so I didn't really have time to like jump into their books and figure out if they have a ton of cash on hand, or I don't know much about their products, but you could figure all that out for yourself if you really wanted to. But nonetheless, up 56% today, so a good day for them. They are currently at $12.10 a share, $12.10. So, in my opinion, still relatively affordable if you want to buy some. The second biggest mover today was Dario Health Corp. They are a global digital therapeutics solutions leader. I did some research on their site. It looked really to me like personalized healthcare data, whether that was for you as an individual, or they could sell their service to, say, the company that you work for, and then they would provide these digital healthcare metrics and analytics to all the employees of the company to make sure everybody is living a healthy life and things like that. So they were up 54% today. They were only down 1% in the aftermarket, so staying, kind of holding strong. The big news for them, why they went up, is that they received almost $29 million in funding from investors, and this is supposed to go straight to developing new products and growing. So for them, that was definitely a plus. I think they were trying to really focus more on the individual level, like selling their services to you and me as individuals versus selling their services to companies. So the money was supposed to go towards that. But they had a 5-year high of 108 way back in 2016. But since then, they've been on a really slow, kind of steady decline, and they're a company that has a negative earnings per share. So, good news, they received some funding, but being a company that is in the negative, and I don't know that I feel like there's a huge demand for their product, it's not something that I would probably invest in. So I would say, Betterware de Mexico, I have no idea if they're going to go back down. I just can't figure out much about them. I would say it feels like Dario Health is a company that would probably drop in price as the next few weeks go on. So they closed at 12.40. As this video is being recorded, they're at 12.25 a share. They were at 8 at the start of the day. To me, it feels like they'll probably be back towards 8 at some point in the next few weeks. The third biggest mover for the day was called O2 Micro International. So they make circuits for electronics and different power management components for computers, for industrial, commercial, auto. Actually seemed like a pretty cool company. They are a company that has had positive earnings and improved sales numbers for 2 straight quarters now. The article I read basically said because the stay-at-home orders, everyone's home from work, they're doing things around the house. A lot of what they sell, their product goes into a lot of those personal goods or things that you would be using around the house, or people are buying more of those things right now because they're home and not working. A lot of the product that O2 Micro makes goes in to make those products that you use at your house. So because of that, their sales numbers are up now 2 straight quarters. It looked to me like the article thought there would be continued positive earnings for the foreseeable future. So I think of all the stocks so far that we've talked about, O2 Micro would probably be one that would be looking, you would want to look at as maybe a possible investment to make if they continue to have positive earnings and stay profitable. That'll be a great thing, and their price should continue to go up. So they were up 48% today. They started the day at about 225. They ended the day at 333, and they are down 4% in the aftermarket. Their 5-year high is only 271, so they've exceeded their 5-year high just with what happened today. The fourth biggest mover is called electroCore Inc. They do something called NVNS therapy. It's basically nerve stimulation on the, forgive me if I butcher this, the vagus nerve. So it's kind of like a device that goes on your skin and stimulates that specific nerve, which it sounds like is a very important kind of main nerve in your body. It touches many vital organs. I think your spine, your brain, a lot of different things that impact your body as a whole. So it's a nerve stimulation treatment for chronic pain, chronic disease, things like that. Their big news that I could see was that supposedly their product can help treat some COVID-19 symptoms. So they released that news and their stock popped 45%. They are down 6% in the aftermarket. Started the day at $1.54, ended the day at $2.23. So they're a relatively cheap stock. They do have a negative earnings per share, and their 5-year high is about $20. That was a few years ago. Anything it seems that is involving COVID these days, like you'll see in the next stock as well. As soon as they release any news about any COVID treatment, their stock seems to go up significantly. A lot of them sort of then come back to reality. So you have to be really do your due diligence, be picky about which of these stocks you're going to actually choose to invest in. I definitely want to see stocks that have landed big deals, increase their sales numbers, have a long track record of being a company that earns money before I really want to jump into them. So when I see stocks like electroCore and coming up next, Tiziana, to me, they're stocks that I would want to short sell because they are not in the positive yet. Just because they had a little bit of good news, people get really excited, the price goes up, and then people forget about them in a week. People want to capture the profit that they made when the stock price jumped. They all sell. Stock price comes back down. The fifth and last one from today was TLSA, Tiziana Life Sciences. They typically make cancer treatment drugs. They're up 41% today, and that was based on news that they've submitted patent applications for a drug called Foralumab. It is specifically, I think, like a nasal spray to treat COVID. So again, another company, biotech, pharma company that is doing something COVID related. They release the news, the stock price surges, generally speaking comes back down in a week or two. But again, up 41%, started the day at $4.95 a share, ended the day at $6.99 a share. They are down 9% in the aftermarket. Their 5-year high is up towards 11. So, who knows? Maybe it continues to trend up. But that 5-year high happened just earlier this month. So it was weird about this company. It looked like they were founded quite some time ago, but their stock history that I could find on Yahoo Finance was only about a year old. So I'm not sure if they were a private company and went public, or if they changed ticker symbols or names or were purchased by someone else, but there wasn't a lot of history on the stock that was available. But again, at the end of the day, they are a company that is in the negative. So I just don't see that as something that I personally want to invest in until they start to show signs of improved profitability. All in all, I felt like it was a fun week. It was great to learn all this information. I'm not sure how you all did personally with your investing portfolios, but definitely kind of up and down. There were some winners, there were some losers, there was some crazy stuff like Kodak was all over the place. There was some boring stuff, like I thought today was a relatively boring day on the market, but that was just my opinion. I will say a couple things then. So today, ACHV did a reverse 1-for-20 split. So on my Thinkorswim, it showed that they were up over 2,000% for the day, which could be really deceiving to a lot of people. It was actually because they did a reverse split, not because they were up 2,000%. Their stock price, I think, was down at 30 cents or something like that. So they had to do a split to get back over $1 per share. I think maybe when people saw that their price surged so much, people who didn't know it was because of a reverse split jumped on board. So they were technically up 13%, which is a great day. But on Thinkorswim, it showed them as plus over 2,000%. So just wanted to clarify that in case anyone else saw that. For me, probably my biggest blunder of the week was I had bought Blink 2 weeks ago. They do charging stations for electric vehicles. I had been eyeing them for a while. They kind of surged a little bit. I probably bought in too early, to be fair with you. So it kind of dipped back down, and then say Wednesday or Thursday, they shot up over 30%, I believe, for the day. And unfortunately, I wanted to lock in profits. I wasn't thinking they would surge so high, so I sold at about a 10% profit. So I made money, which was great, but then the price continued to go up, and I left about $3,000 on the table. Unfortunately, I had 600 shares, so I missed out substantially there. But you have to take your licks sometimes. I'm happy I didn't lose money. I'm happy that I made money, about 10%, so that's great. But I left a lot of money on the table. My big move for the week was I took the money from selling out of Blink and I moved on a company called OPK today, or I think it's OPK Health. So they do COVID tests for the NBA, and they won the contract to do them for the NFL as well. So everyone, if you don't follow sports, the NBA has resumed. They started again 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago with scrimmage. And then just yesterday, they started back with actual real games that matter. So they're all down in Orlando, Florida, and what they call the bubble, which I believe is at Disneyland, Disney World, whichever one's in Florida. So every player is getting tested every single day. Every coach, every staff member, every ancillary person, all getting tested every day. So OPKO is the company that won that contract, is providing all these tests, and they're going to do the exact same thing for the NFL. So for them, it was a huge deal to win. They basically crushed their earnings report. They've landed those 2 big contracts, and they're showing signs of profitability, which should continue on in the future. So what's weird and why I bought it is that they sold off. They dropped about 13% today, I believe. So they dropped down below $5 per share. The sell-off makes absolutely no sense to me. Based on positive earnings, their stock price dropped. Piper Sandler also upgraded them from their target price of $6 a share today to $10 a share. So we're seeing positive news when it comes to earnings. We're seeing positive news from Piper Sandler, yet the stock price went down. So I made a move. I bought 1,000 shares of OPK at I think $4.99 per share. I expect it wholeheartedly to go back up to at least 6, and I'm hoping that it goes up to 10. That would be a nice, juicy 100% profit for me. We'll see how long it takes to happen, and hopefully it does happen. But, it's always a gamble, always a risk, right? The last thing I'll say was Kodak was probably like the stock to talk about this week. They started the week at just a few dollars per share. They were as high as 60, and they ended the week at 21.85. I personally feel like, again, this is just my opinion. This is not financial investing advice. Don't go buy Kodak or short Kodak because I said this. But I think they're going to continue to drop some more. I would expect them to be down $15 per share, something like that by the end of next week. But we'll see. So again, my name's Luke. The channel's Mr. Shredder. I'm going to do these videos every day, stock market recap if possible. And at the end of the week, I'll try to do a special like this, kind of talk about how the week went, what moves I made. But I hope you all did well. If you have any questions, comments, things you want to say, put it down below in the comment section. Otherwise, I hope I earned your thumbs up, and I hope I earned your subscription as well. It's free for you, and if you like watching these videos, definitely tune back in and hit the subscribe button. So thanks again. Have a great weekend. See you guys next week. Bye.